There we go. There we go. Sipping my coffee, my afternoon coffee. We're gonna work on this Wildcats thing. If you are like, hey, weren't we gonna do this before? You're not wrong. If you're watching on YouTube, it's gonna be a seamless transition. It's gonna look like I'm putting out content on the regular. When in fact, dear viewer, we started this thing like a week ago. It's been a long time. This is like been the longest running kind of thing because we flatted it before Christmas, and then like we started coloring it on the 6th, and what is it right now? It's like the 14th. So here's what happened. Shannon got a little sick, and it's not that big of a deal, but as far as like my schedule and stuff, it is a little bit because it's not her fault, but when she sleeps in, I want to sleep in. And when I sleep in, extra stuff that I like to do gets cut, like streaming. It's a whole new year. Yeah, right. So we started this in 2018, and we're just going to keep the ball rolling all the way into 2020. We're just going to keep working on this piece. We're going to keep chipping away at it. So yeah, I not only have I not been streaming, but like I've been doing the sketchbook challenge, but I'm actually behind. We're like a week and a half into the new year here, and I'm like 2 weeks in, and like I'm behind on my schedule as far as like doing pages. Yeah, you saw me. Yeah, what year is it? What day is it? Who knows? Who knows at this point? The life of a freelancer. This is also like I currently don't have a whole lot that's like due, quote unquote. Like I just turned in an issue of The Realm number 11. Hey Rico. Realm number 11 just got turned in. I'm working on Heartthrob number 2. I'm working on Nightwing. Hey Sally. I'm working on some Nightwing stuff. Rico, by the way, Rico just posted on Twitter. You guys should like get in on like interconnecting. By the way, let's get interconnect. We're gonna talk about that. Rico just posted a sweet Spider-Man 2099 thing that he just colored. That was like dope as hell. In fact, we should just like, yeah, I should just bring that. We should just bring that up because it's dope as hell. Let me see if I can find it in a meaningful amount of time. Yeah, no problem, man. It's good work. Here it is. Ramon drew this, obviously, with his distinctive style, but dope as hell, man. I saw this thing, and I got a little I got a little bit jealous. Not only is it like colored really well and drawn really well, but like the idea of like the plating in here with like the on top of like a second suit like is really neat. And like I don't know if that they ever did that in like the 2099 stuff. They did like a like an over, like it felt like an overlay of like you just picked up X-Men Black Juggernaut the other day. Was it good? Yeah, the Sean Crystal had been working on that. Whoa, Kate, more than a year sub. Thank you. Welcome to High Society. I don't know if the alert was up for that. I'm like, comics. But thank you very much. But yeah, the suit for 2099 was always more, I don't know. It felt like a I don't know if you guys can hear that, if the stream's picking it up. Shannon is putting some fruit through the juicer in the other room. So, you know, nice clean audio here. Oh, yeah. Sean Crystal colored by some dude named Renzi. Yeah. But yeah, Spider-Man 2099 suit, in my mind, was always like a spandex suit that had like an interwoven like electrical current going through it. And less like a chunky like Iron Man-ish kind of thing. And like I saw this and I was like, God damn it, Ramon. I wish I thought of that shit. He gave you this file last December. I believe in you. It takes... Hey, man. Hey. Sometimes it takes a while for us to get around to getting stuff done. You saw the original pages at NYCC? Yeah. Yeah, that's dope. Man, there's a bunch of new comics coming out that I want to get in on, but I haven't. I've been reading like back issues. We could talk about that real quick while I'm finishing my coffee. I've been reading a lot of back issue stuff. I've been reading the Jason Aaron Thor run. I'm like 3 trades in now. So I'm just about to read the Jane Foster Thor stuff. I'm very excited about that. I read 6 omnibuses of Hellboy just recently. Hellboy is like, it's in my brain now. It's like, there's something about Hellboy. It just like, it burrows into your head and just makes a home. Like, I can't recommend that comic enough. But yeah, there's like a ton of stuff coming out that I'm like interested in reading, and I'm like, I'm going to get through these first. I'm going to get through these trades first. And then I've been like also kind of chipping away at some Switch stuff recently. I just beat The Legend of Zelda on the NES. Biggest Bellboy takeaway. Learn anything from it? You're almost done with the 3rd Hellboy omnibus. Yeah, man, it's a long read. There's a lot of Hellboy. So, okay, there is a Hellboy takeaway. There's a couple of things that Mignola does very, very well that I thought was like really, really interesting. The way he creates depth without having to... I know. Bellboy, Hellboy, I got you. The way that Mignola creates depth by... you should probably read one of those Flurry books. The way he creates depth in he's thinking about like atmospheric perspective within creating the world. So he's not trying to draw everything. He's trying to draw the thing that you want to look at and then kind of like gesture in like outlines and things like that. The way he creates monsters that lurk in shadow is really interesting. It's also like a masterclass on like trying to make a page and conveying an idea and then not conveying anything extra. Like putting the reader right where you want them. Not only right where you want them, but also not spending time drawing everything else. I mean, we're working on a Jim Lee piece right now, so he's like the other side of the coin with that, where Jim is like, I'm going to draw everything and it's going to look amazing. Mike is more like, I'm going to draw the things that are important and give you enough information. And like, by doing that, he is creating a world where you are engaged in a way where your subconscious is like, you just got all the omnibuses? Yeah, they're so good. Where you're engaged, your subconscious is engaged in it and is like filling the details in. Like, once you start reading, it's such a quick read too, because there's a lot of atmosphere and not a lot of dialogue. Like, I think part of the reason why it resonates with me beyond the initial read is because my mind is still like filling in all these details kind of thing. It's just so good. It's just so good. There's also a minor spoiler that's so minor, but is kind of a spoiler. So like Hellboy, I'm not going to say the spoiler because I'm not going to say the spoiler, but Hellboy physically changes a little bit near the end. It's not even near the end. Like, I looked this up. It was like, the spoiler is like 5 years old. Do you think that those styles are a lot influenced by the genre of storytelling? For sure. Like, you know, Jim Lee's doing superhero stuff. He's trying to make it as bombastic as possible. Hellboy is horror. You know, it's like, you got to suit it to what you want to make. Thank you for not ruining Hellboy. Yes. We're not going to ruin Hellboy. But there's a spoiler that's like 5 years old that I didn't know about, even though I had seen art with the spoiler in it. Like, it's a visual spoiler. And I didn't realize it. And it's because of the way that Mike Mignola draws. And I think that is like super fucking interesting. That like he was able to create a visual language that hid a spoiler from me that if anybody else was drawing, I'd immediately understand and recognize. For 5 years, too. For 5 years. Hellboy, man. Dope as fuck. It's also, like, I really just... The Hellboy character of, like, he's... Now you gotta Google Hellboy spoiler for 5 years. Yeah. The other thing is that Hellboy is also the way he is just sick of like all the bullshit that he has to put up with at all times is just so good. I'm trying to like sip this coffee. It's hot. I'm like got the vapors. We're gonna be done with this coffee in a minute. I started the Jason Aaron Thor run too, and the first two, the God Bomb stuff is like, it's really, really great. I can't, the art's great. I mean, it's like, I feel like other than Simonson's Thor, this is like the run for Thor as far as like our generation. So yeah, you should check it out. Can't recommend it enough. And finish off Zelda, for crying out loud. It's only been around for like 35 years. All right. Enough talk about Zelda. Let's get into this. Camera, focus up. There we go. Ready to go. So here's where we left this Wildcats piece when we initially worked on it. And I'm a ding dong, because I kept forgetting Grifter's name. This sweet couples art. Yeah, I know. I said when we started, I was like, are they dating in the book? Like, they're like, this is like, I'm a tough guy. And she's like, he's my boyfriend. And it's like, what is this? I don't know. Yeah, you saw Robert's post of the inks. You never identified you have never seen a collab where you could easily identify each person's contribution, for sure. Like, Robert brings his own like clear voice to this, which is the reason I was like, dude, you gotta give me that. I want a shot. This thing looks rad. So okay. For some reason, I could never remember Grifter's name, so we labeled it so that I wouldn't be a dingus. So we started in on this, and I had an idea of like kind of what I wanted to do, and it took a turn, and not a turn for the bad, but you thought it was Voodoo and Maul who dated? I mean, maybe. It's been forever since I've read a Wildcats book. I know that Robert is now like digging into a lot of 90s stuff. Yeah, it's been like 30 years. Yeah. It's been a minute. I know Robert's digging into a lot of 90s comics right now, which is pretty cool. Some of those books are probably really, really good. I wonder if they're worth going back and checking out. But so this took a turn from where I thought it was going to go to this kind of like 80s Miami Beach kind of vibe. And so we're going to try to embrace that. And the more that I was thinking about this, we're gonna start, by the way. So this is what I talk about this a lot. When you work on something for a while, and we worked on this for a couple of hours, you hit a point where you're like kind of visually fried. And by stepping away and coming back to it like we're doing right now, I can see that like this is pretty good, but like we can amp up the yellow a little bit. and maybe like crank up the red in the shadows a little bit, something like that. So like this is subtle, but it's like this looks like it's so subtle. Maybe I'm a crazy person. Chat, I might be a crazy person, but it's like it's enough that like it does improve it. You have the half of the first 15 issues. It wouldn't be too much to get copies of the rest. Yeah, I know. You can find like all the Wildcats stuff in like dollar bins at like Comic Cons. I'm sure they're all over. I mean, they printed like 1 million copies of each of them. So, you know, it's not exactly rare. I'm going to move the mic. Everybody chill. Okay. All right. You can still hear me. So yeah, that was like a slight thing. Oh, the only other thing that I did was I put together a little quick Wildcats logo. Thank you for the host, Kate. We're gonna take this yellow. Remember, we preserved the flats down here on the first level there. I remember when we worked on this, we did a lot of work on Voodoo's face, and we're still gonna work on Voodoo's face because I don't know if it's quite what I want. We just yellowed that up just a little bit. Travis, welcome to High Society, comic coloring High Society. I think Voodoo's face is we left it at a good point. We worked it quite a bit, as you can tell when we zoom in. Thank you, Travis, for the subscription. We're gonna tweak it just a little bit more. So one of the things I'm trying to do in 2019, by the way, is if 2018. And I'm going to talk about this kind of idea in a second. 2018 was about like me getting to the drawing table and like sitting down and working on a regular basis. And Travis did some amazing issues of Wildcats back in the day. Yeah, I bought those issues and I was always like brokenhearted every time, like, because he does amazing issues and then somebody else would take over because he can't meet his deadline because he's like, you know, he's doing all these like technical the X-Men Wildcats crossover is insane. Yes, dude, yes. Man, all the Wildcat stuff is man, maybe I should get some Wildcat stuff. I'm gonna pull the cheek up just a little bit. Maybe that's too much. Not enough. Maybe that's enough. That's enough, right, chat? That's enough. Put a little more sauce on the nose. Maybe an actual white highlight. There we go. Yeah. The thing about those issues though is like I remember when they were coming out and I was getting them as a kid, and I was like, Travis Charest. I don't know how to say his name because I think it's French. But yeah, he just like, it was so easy to tell when the art changed because his stuff was like such high quality that it was like all of a sudden it was like, oh, and he's gone. You know, it's like, oh, well, Travis is done with this issue now, I guess. I felt bad for like all the artists who had to like follow him basically. It's a tough act to follow for sure. All right. I just wanted to soften a couple of those marks on the nose. I've been starting to do this with Robert's work a little bit. I feel like every time I do it on Robert's stuff, it works out. Sure, is that it? I think that might be it. See, this is the problem, is that Sean Phillips finished those issues up he's great, but not the same. Right, exactly. When you come for Travis, and then it like changes abruptly. I mean, this happens with any series, Nightwing, that changes artists a lot. You just end up with people who are like, well, I came for this thing, and now it's different. I keep saying Cherished because like that's how I adopted it in my mind when I was like 15, and it's really really hard to change. And like I don't talk about him enough to remember that his name is Shure. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is Shure. That's how you feel when you gotta fill in for Clayman. Yeah, it's like, well, guys, I'm sorry. It's me now. I had to. I filled in for Matt Wilson on an issue of Wonder Woman, and it was not a Cliff Chang issue like I had hoped it would be, and I forgot who the artist was, but I remember feeling like that artist and I are both saddled with like an impossible task of like trying to do what Cliff Chang and Matt Wilson did. It's just like, oh god, this is like where I felt like I needed to send out an apology in addition to like the pages, you know. Dear reader, I'm so sorry. We did the best we could. That was also at a time when like I felt like Matt Wilson was really like blowing me out of the water. Like I feel more confident now that I can match him, but man, there was a time when like that dude was like, well, not only was he's always been great, but like this was a time when I was a little depressed, and I don't know, I just couldn't, the art wouldn't click. I nearly lost 20K in a Clayman art at one time. That's a whole thing. Dude, you're going deep on the gotta learn how to color in an apology. You're going deep on collecting original art. That is a game that I cannot start to get into. Someone just recently in my chat actually posted that they were, I think it might have been you, that like they picked up some original art, and I was just like, I just can't. It's like I just can't. The Phil Hester occasionally posts snippets of his personal art collection, and it always makes me jealous, but then I'm like, I can't go down this road. Like I just want what I want is Phil Hester and I become best friends. Okay, that's step number 1. Step number 2, Phil Hester comes down with a sudden illness. Step 3, I reap all his pages after his death. Now, nobody can execute on this plan except for me, okay? And hopefully I will not execute on this plan for a long time, because Phil Hester's pages are really great. The art he makes is really good, and I want to consume more of it. In fact, don't execute on this plan. Oh, you worked for Essential Sequential. Portfolio got misplaced on a teardown. Oh, yeah, it's a little. No one warned Phil Hester. You are next. Yeah, no, I don't actually wish for that, but it would be nice to get Phil Hester's collection of original art. Also, holy shit, man. Losing a whole portfolio of misplaced Clayman stuff is that's got to be stressful. It's a little stressful. All right, so if you remember, I want you up here. So I'm purposely putting a lot of detail into the cuffs and creases and stuff in here. In fact, we could probably tone this one down just a little. Um, because like I want your eye here. I don't want your eye down here. So we're probably going to put like a bunch of shadows and stuff in here, but we're not going to do as many high highlights. Um, let's just kind of go in and add a little more detail in here. It was stressful, but it worked out. Yeah. You'd have a huge panic attack. Yeah. Man, okay. I was gonna talk about this because I've been thinking about this a lot. So 2019, I said this before, was about me kind of like getting to a place where or 2018, I'm sorry. It was about getting to a place where I was drawing all the time. Didn't matter what I was drawing, as long as I like get to the table and draw, then like I've achieved the goal. And you know, the goal was small, but I've been thinking about this a lot. That like, even though that small goal was a good goal, now I'm trying to like focus on like, you know, drawing with a purpose kind of thing. Meaning like, you know, not trying to like shy away from things that I'm bad at. I'm not great at drawing hands. He's from the future. I'm not great at drawing hands. So I sat down and I was like, you know, the advantage, there's a lot of people who think that like, you know, kids will start to learn how to draw at a young age and they'll just kind of like go, and they think, oh, well, you know, I missed out on that as a kid. Like I never started drawing as a kid, so I can't learn how to draw because I don't have that base to like that foundation. And the reality is that like, the reality is that like, you don't, you know, kids are drawing, but they're not like, it's not focused. It's just like wild energy, you know? Hey, comics and stuff. Yeah, it's just like wild energy. By the way, we got to figure out what we're going to do for the bounce light. I think we got to figure that out. I wanted to do like an aqua because we're trying to make this 80s. So let's figure out what we're going to do for that bounce light. Yeah, so kids kind of draw without purpose. And you can actually, as an adult, progress much more quickly because if you are like, you know, like I'm trying to have this goal. I know what I need to work on, you know. Not late. Nick's only threatened to kill one comic creator. Oh no. I did do that. That's not what I want, though. So like, I don't know. Or is this working? Maybe a little bit of green. Yeah, there we go. Get that aqua tint going. I think if you like to draw, you should draw 100%. If you are an adult and you feel like you can't, let me tell you, you do not need that base. A lot of the drawings that I did as a kid were just me like copying things or not really having a like clear path, clear direction. When I went to college, I grew the most in that time because I had a clear path and clear direction. So I know I'm bad at hands. It's factual. You're not going to break my heart by saying that. I started just being like, okay, and two things happened when I started doing this, and we're going to get into that. I started being like, all right, I'm bad at hands. Let's fix that. I'm just going to draw. I'm just going to fight through the pain and I'm going to draw 20 hands every day. And I'm up to, today will be my 100th. And I'm probably going to keep going. A couple things happened. Around 65, 70, I started looking less at the reference and more on like glancing at the structure and then being like, okay, I got this. You know, you just love creating. Yeah, yeah. So you try to encourage people to draw no matter what. Yeah. So I started being like, okay, you know, not only have I started to be like, you know, I don't need to look at the reference quite as much, but there's a lot of stuff that I've been reading about like rhythm within art as far as like gesturing and posing. Somebody who's very good at this is his name is escaping me. Ben, who worked on Prez for Vertigo like two or 3 years ago, 4 years ago. What year is it? Something like that. His work has like a ton of energy into it, and it's because he's mastered this kind of like gesture drawing. Yeah, Caldwell. I got there. I'm a professional creator. And he's kind of mastered this like, you know, this flowing rhythm that he creates within the cartooning. And I noticed that like once I started to get comfortable with hands, I started noticing that flowing cartooning that's happening within the hands. Like suddenly pieces of the hands are I'm exaggerating them to like make more interesting shapes and stuff like that. So, and I'm only like I said, I'm only like 80 hands deep. But I'm getting better, and I know that I am. So I'm really excited to keep going. One of the other things that happened was that we're just kind of noodling on stuff. I don't, maybe we should have a more clear direction as to what we're doing. The other thing that happened was that if I didn't have to sit down and think of something to draw, I drew a lot more. Like I have done, what am I on? 7 or 8 days in a row, something like that. That's like my longest streak, and I'm doing that no problem. Like it just gets to the end of the night and I'm just like, well, time to draw 20 hands, and I just do it. You know, I don't have to like be like, okay, what character am I going to draw? All right, we're going to draw sexy Wario because that's what we do. And then it's like, okay, how am I going to make him sexy? And then it's like, all right, we gotta figure out how to make Wario sexy. You know, like there's all these things with like character design and sexy Wario that then I have to problem solve. Whereas if it's like an exercise, like drawing 20 hands, I can just sit down and do that. It doesn't take a lot of like premeditation or thought. And then like the other thing is that like Pinterest is an excellent resource for something like this. With Pinterest, you can just kind of like go in there and be like, hey, Pinterest, show me hands. And it's like the Matrix where the shelves come out of nowhere. It's like the same thing, and it's just hands. It's a little gross, but yeah, you guys get the idea. I followed a board just recently that is just 20 faces, or sorry, not 20, 100 different like faces, 100 different portraits. It was like a cultivated art board, and I think I'm gonna give that a try too, in an effort to just vary up the faces that I'm drawing. And I'm really excited about it. I actually made a trash sketchbook. And if you guys are aspiring to do this, I would do this as well. I think it's important to have space to practice. Whether it's anything artistic, comic coloring, drawing, anything. Like, to have a space that's like, you know, my trash sketchbook is separate from my regular sketchbook. I might bring my regular sketchbook to a show and like doodle stuff from my imagination. I don't think so. The Humanity Tumblr, I don't think you have. Probably a lot of stuff from there is in the Faces Pinterest. Sounds like. So yeah, I feel like it's a good idea to have like that kind of like free space where you know no one's gonna look through it, and you can just try shit that you're bad at until you're not so bad at it. You know, like I think you know, a lot of creators would be able to tell you immediately what they think they're bad at, but like I don't know if those same creators are going to be working on that consistently with thought, you know. And that's kind of like what I was saying before, this what's going to separate you from like a kid just doodling. Like, I'm all for that, by the way. Like I said, I spent all of 2018 just like being like, well, we're going to draw today and I don't know what it's going to be, and we're just going to go, you know, I'm just going to have fun. And there, you know, that's great, but there's also a time and a place for like, okay, let's think about like what we actually need to get done, you know? This whole Wildcats thing, by the way, and this 80s kind of cover, probably the Tumblr has portraits of people from pretty wide ethnicity spectrum. Yeah, age, ethnicity, yeah. Original concept was to match skin tones to different Pantone swatches, but it's just a good reference for how different faces can be. Absolutely. It sounds great. Man, yeah. We've been talking a lot in the Discord about this kind of stuff. Or at least maybe a lot is a pretty intense word. But yeah. I'm going to look that up later. And I'm probably going to use quite a bit of it. The other thing that happened when I was working on all these hands is that I started to notice like what makes good hand models. You'd like to follow up on that? Yeah, definitely post it in the Discord, or I don't know if you can post it here actually, because can't take links. But man, we got that full 80s vibe going. I'm digging this. I'm digging this a lot. Sorry, I started thinking about the 80s and I got kind of sidetracked. We gotta change the knuckles because they're green, and I think they're the only place that there is green on this thing. There's like a little bit of green in here and a little bit of green up here, but this is like real green. Hey, thank you, Nimish, for posting the Discord link. Yeah, I mean, I know that I usually go like pretty long stretches of time with you know, sometimes when I'm like working or there's something going on and I can't necessarily stream, but I'm in the Discord like 5 days a week, pretty much like 9 to 5. So I try to make myself as available as possible to you guys. If you ever have questions about anything or whatever. We also just put up a jobs posting board. So if you are looking for work, or you are looking to hire, you can jump in on that. All right, I got to figure out what we're doing. We're kind of doing this like it's on this side, but I mean, maybe we should swap these. Maybe that would make more sense. Because, like, I don't know. I guess I'm imagining that the light is, like, kind of bouncing up. But with superhero stuff, it's kind of like everything's all over the place anyway. You know? Yeah, that makes a little more sense. All right, let's change the color in the knuckles. Because it's not working quite right. Oh, I changed the... Oh, I didn't. I actually put all the shadows down here like a dingus. All right. I kind of want to put like a something in the background, like a sunset or something. Oh, we're on the wrong layer. We're gonna figure that out. Blue is nice. Blue kind of works with the vibe. It's like a... Maybe we'd like do a blue, but then we'd like desat it a little. Yeah, so it doesn't overpower the bounce light that we're making. In fact, what if we changed up this guy to be the same blue color? I think that works. I think that works. This image kind of, by the way, crept into my imagination, and now I have like a 1980s Wildcats pitch in my head that, like, I don't know will ever see the light of day, but like it entertained me. I don't know. I gotta actually commit some more pitches to paper. Try to work out the kinks in them. I had a pretty good conversation with Charlie Chu just recently over at Oni Press about how it's tough to make kind of like interesting, aggressive moves. As far as like artistically, it's tough to make anything with teeth. I don't know if you guys struggle with this, but like sometimes I feel like I see a lot of the same things from people over and over and over again, because not that the same person is doing the same thing over and over again, but hey Jorby, Jobby, oh god, hello. Hello. Not that the same people are doing the same thing over and over again. How do you practice not to suck at color? Well, the trick is, okay, let me give you... Do you want like the like Toby with a J? Okay. Okay, so you want the like the hard way that takes a long time, or do you want like the sick shortcut that I learned? Classic Nick Phil, don't look at me. Yeah. Yeah, so we were talking about how it feels like, because there is like a financial both. Okay. So the sick shortcut that I have, thank you for the follow, is to practice every day for 15 years straight and only do this, and then you'll get good at it. And then the long way is to do the same thing but for 30 years while also working a day job. That's how you do it. So we were talking about how there's a financial component. I mean, and I just brought up a day job, so I'm sure you guys are out there hustling, same as everybody else, like furiously scribbling notes. Like a lot of artists kind of frame the comics that they make, I feel like, within the context of a very like, and I'm not like ragging on DC and Marvel because they put out like really great products, but those products that they put out are in a very narrow space of like what comics can be as a whole. And I think that anybody who works at Marvel and DC would also say that like they're in the business of making superhero comics that can appeal to all ages. Mostly they want the widest base they can get. And like sometimes when you make stuff like that, like you can make a really great product that everybody will enjoy, but sometimes you end up with like this really kind of like narrow, not a lot of like space to improve kind of thing. Not a lot of space to improve, but not a lot of space to like, I don't know, excite. There's things that Marvel and DC do where they like, you know, by and large will like tone down the gore and like stuff like that. Like they might not take the chances that an artist might want to take. And I think that it's interesting that Charlie was talking about this. And I mean, he's a little bit biased because he works at Oni Press, which takes chances that I think Marvel and DC wouldn't, to their detriment or benefit. But I think that is an interesting conversation. And I was like, well, his argument was, it's hard to improvise when you have a standard operating procedure or take risks. I mean, it is, but like the good people do take the risks, find the risks to be taken. You know, like I don't think taking risks for the sake of taking risks is a good idea, but I think taking calculated risks is a good idea. And there are people who are doing it within Marvel and DC. I don't mean to, I'm just kind of like generalizing the whole thing. I want to make that abundantly clear because like there's a lot like shit, man. Cave Carson was like a huge risk. Like that whole book is like totally bananas. Like, you know, I can speak personally from that, but like, you know, that is a very different book than what Nightwing sets out to be. So when he was talking about this, he was like, yeah, like the industry is kind of framed in a way where everybody's kind of like working for the next gig and worried about the next gig. And so they have to make art that showcases, you know, performance for the next gig. So you don't see a lot of people like trying to take risks. And I was like, well, you know, and this might be like a crazy adult conversation, but like, I was like, Charlie, you know, Funko Pop's full of meat is okay. Yeah, exactly. It's a Cave Carson reference. It's a Milk Wars reference. And I was like, but Charlie, you know, healthcare for me personally, if I didn't get it through my lovely and currently sick fiance, I'd be paying $400 a month. And like, that is a very real worry. And that leads me to be like, okay, I gotta take the next gig. I gotta take the next gig. I gotta take the next gig. You know, like I'm in that, like if I had financial, and then like beyond that, you know, there's like art, my art school degree cost a lot of money. I think that it's tough to kind of go in and be like, well, people aren't taking enough risks. And it's like, well, they can't, you know, like they need that next gig to survive. I think that in America, at least, we've created a system that kind of like, it's like, well, where's the money? I need to get to the money. And it's like, well, the money's in Marvel and DC stuff. So you're like constantly making a portfolio for Marvel and DC. And I don't fault anyone for this. But it's dominant within the industry to the point where people like Ramon, who did that Spider-Man 2099 piece that we did earlier in the thing, like his voice is so clear and distinct and interesting, and he always puts his own spin on it, and he's always doing exactly what he wants to do, and it's like hand of the artist. I feel like there's a lot of people within comics like that, like Jim Rugg is that way. You know, Sam Keith is that way. You know, we like most of the Wildcats guys are that way. Not Wildcats, Image. Anonymous is now following me. We are deep in the V for Vendetta culture now. We did a V for Vendetta page on this stream, by the way. Let's select the whole gun. Just all the gun. We're getting close to the end. But I don't know. I was thinking about that and how there's like within the freelance artistic world, there's this nonstop hustle. It's like no one can get above air, you know? No one can get above board, get some air and like make something artistic, it feels like. And if they can, it's like few and far between. I wish more people within comics were doing this. But, you know, it's also like not everyone has something to say either, you know? Like, and that's fine. I, for a very long time, had nothing to say. When I was like, one of the things that tripped me up, when I got out of college, was I was so focused on craft and story and everything, like within comics, like all of the media and like making the best product I could, that I was so turned around that I was like, well, if it's not Watchmen, if I'm not going to make Watchmen, why bother making anything, you know? And then that was like coming, like hitting me like a brick wall, because like I was fighting that impulse, plus I was fighting the impulse of like, well, I'm also like 22 and I led a very sheltered life in Connecticut, in the suburbs of Connecticut. And then I led a semi-sheltered life of, you know, private art school that like didn't really give me any like life lessons or trouble or anything. Like, it was like, you know, what do I have to say? You know, it's pretty impossible to say no when DC's offering work. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to work on your own project for no money. Yeah, I mean, I think that's just, and I'm not knocking, you know, anybody for taking a DC gig. Like, I take DC gigs. You know, like I actively want to work for DC. It's just, it's tough to find both, like where you're like, I'm going to do something wild and interesting and amazing that like DC would never put out. But I also need to do this DC project. And it's tough to find the bandwidth to do both things. Which is, I think, ultimately what Charlie was talking about. And I was trying to, you know, when he was like saying this stuff, I was like, well, you know, some of us need to pay bills. It's not all about the art all the time. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, when I got out of art school, guys, art school messed me up. It messed me up bad. In case you can't tell, art school messed me up bad. When I got out, I was really turned around as far as like making comics. What I should have been doing, and if you're in art school right now, you definitely had someone in your life be like, well, why would you want to do that when you can self-publish? And they started doing work for hire, and there's several reasons, one of which is getting paid. Yes. The other thing is like, you also get to like play in the DC Marvel sandbox when you get to work for DC and Marvel, which is like, you know, we can talk about making art, but also it's very fun doing that. There's a lot of reasons to work for DC, Marvel, and any other intellectual property that you enjoy. Like, the last thing I want is for you guys to think like that I'm like ragging on DC and Marvel, because I'm not. I feel like both places exist for a reason. But I just wish it was a little easier. The only thing I'm saying is I wish it was a little easier for people to make choices for one or the other in their careers. But I just feel like, man, it's just financially so freaking tough. I was listening to a NPR story on opera singers retiring. Now, okay, don't change the channel. Don't adjust your set. I was listening at opera singers. We're not gonna go deep into opera singers, but one of the more you generally enjoy working collaboratively. Yeah, I mean, it's nice, dude. I was saying the same thing to Charlie. Is like, he also was making the claim. Oh, we can get into this eventually, but opera is interesting. I promise. Yeah. What color would be dye pick crazy? I don't know. So one of the more famous opera singers, when he got out and he was like ready to retire and he had a lot of money, he made in I think in Barcelona, somewhere in Spain, he made this place called Casa Verde, which is basically a retirement home for opera singers. It's like this giant place, and they offer it's like aging opera singers in like their 60s up, who like are still teaching. They teach classes, but they live there at like a reduced rate to like help out opera singers who are maybe like not quite as successful as this guy was. I'm like super vague on the details, and I'm sorry about that, but the point is that like, I feel like if something like that existed, if there was a like more of a net for artistic people, that like if you tried something and it failed, you wouldn't be like done, like financially ruined. If there was more of a net for that, for artistic people, then there would be more chances being taken within the field. Charlie also tried to suggest that I mean, I don't know if I should I feel like he would tell you this himself. He was saying that he feels like if it's not one person making the comic, then it's a watered down version of what the comic could be, kind of. He thinks that the most interesting space happens when it's like one person doing everything. And I was like, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? And he was like, yes, all those things are interesting. I'm not saying that's exclusive to that. So I just, want to be able to give him an out. Yeah, nothing like watching a bunch of French artists in Paris starve to death because they can't get work. Yeah, and here's the thing. So I'm listening to the story about, French or opera singers, and I realize that like currently, and at the same time that story got planted into my brain, Ron Smith, one of the artists on one of the starting artists on Judge Dredd, who really filled out the canon, really made it like this thing, made Dredd what Dredd is. He passed away. This happened just recently. And I've only just started reading Dredd, and so like obviously he was in my headspace as well. And so I was kind of like, man, wouldn't it be neat if like there was also this kind of Casa Verde for comic book artists? And I'm not saying that he needed that. I don't know what his situation is when he passed. Boland is your Dredd artist of choice. Respectable. Predictable, but respectable. Boland's really great, but like he, as far as like raw page count, like Smith was like in the trenches, man. Like he was getting that book out. I think we're like kind of done with the gun. This is kind of like sticking out like a sore thumb. He was the first professional artist you ever met. Oh, that's cool, man. I don't know who the first. Maybe Walt Simonson was maybe the first that I remember meeting, who was like a professional artist working in the industry. He and I know that I just like ragged on art school here, but like he and Louise Simonson, Wheezy, both came to Savannah College of Art and Design, and we all got to meet them, which was really neat. So maybe Savannah College of Art and Design wasn't that bad. Was the guy who did the Goosebumps cover paintings. That's awesome. that's really cool. All right, I think we're getting to a point where we are gonna start to wrap this up. Maybe that's definitive, right? Look, I'm gonna give myself as many outs as possible with that statement. Should we put like this blue on this side as well? It looks like it was drawn for that. A lot of like bouncing light sources. Yeah, kinda. We can put it on the leg too. Really try to like amp up the shapes. Whoo! Look at that. Look at that hot Miami night. Let's work on some background stuff, and then we're gonna put some special effects things on, and then I think we're gonna call it a day. So I kind of wanted to do like one of those like he lived in New Jersey, and I guess someone who ran summer camps for the country knew him, for the county knew him, and get him to come talk to the camp. That's awesome. I actually, one of the reasons why I started doing the stream was I got asked to do, this was before the stream was running. I got asked to do we're gonna do a circle, but I don't think we have to be, okay. Here's some problem with adding design elements. We can't let the circle kind of rub against, we have to have like enough space between the end of the gun and the circle. This little like sun thing that we're going to do. So that, but I also want it centered. So we have to like make sure that it's a decent size. I think this is looking good. Yeah, so I got asked to, one of my neighbors was a teacher. She probably still is. She's no longer my neighbor, but she was like, "Hey, come on into see, now we're at design. We're like, we have like a weird tangent here where we're making this shape that is just kind of like whoop. This is like, it looks weird on her shoulder. Maybe we can eliminate that. I think if we you got to tell Tim Sale he was on the first Comic-Con panel you ever went to when you were back in high school. It was a draw-off between him and Maleev. Who won the draw-off? Spill the deets. I need to know who to follow on Twitter and who to flame war with. I am totally eyeballing this. Let's see how that looks. That looks good. I'm still a little worried about that, but maybe we did such a great job here that we won't look at that. That's what we did. I also think, what if we Just a little bit. Just a nudge. Just a nudge. Yes. Getting this to be like a little pinker too down here, which is like kind of nice. How'd you end up talking to Mark Bagley on the phone about comics right out of college? You don't think Grifter's Mask is red enough? You might be right. You might be right about that. It went a little buck wild. Man, red is such a freaking pain in the ass to work with. I am dealing with that right now in the realm. There's the Red Queen, and she is a pain in the ass. And now there's more red stuff, and red is becoming a character within the realm, and the color red is becoming a character within the realm. And it's all a pain in the ass. It's all... I talked about this before about how red is a pain in the ass. It's because when you work in comics, you can't go too dark because then it won't print well. So you basically have... And you can't go too light because then red turns into pink. So you basically are stuck with like red and dark red, and that's it. Like we added too much yellow and it turned his mask turned a little orange. We can fix it. We can fix it. There we go. A little more red. Maybe a little more red. There we go. Thumbs up. Yeah. It was a good call. Good note. Good note, Rico. I kind of want to color hold his hair. So I got to the last time I went to Rose City last year, I got to spend some time with Mark Bagley, which was pretty cool. We worked on a book called Brilliant, which was a really tough book for me. Really tough book for me to figure out for a lot of different reasons. And I talked to him briefly about that. I remember talking to Mark, though. Mark's an older guy, Mark Bagley, and I had to walk him through how to print and scan because he had been used to working on Spider-Man, and he would pencil it and then mail the boards out. He never had to worry about scanning and all that kind of stuff. And then on Brilliant, we were doing everything ourselves because it was like an indie book with Bendis, and he was like, I don't know how to do any of this. And I was like, dude, I got you. I'll walk you through. Your sister's hairdresser was his wife's sister. So she told him that you wanted to do comics, and he was willing to talk to... Yeah, Mark's such a good dude. He told me to send him some art, and you never did comic pages before, so you were not ready. Oh, I thought you were going to be like, and I never did. But he was super cool. Remember him talking to me about drawing Spider-Man and watching the Braves game. Yeah, he's a great person. I can't say enough good things about Mark Bagley. He was also very patient with me as I went through a lot of growing pains with the Brilliant stuff that we were working on. And oh my god, I wish we didn't call it Brilliant, because I was not at a place where I was cocky enough to be like, hey, this is my new book, Brilliant. But it is what it is. It is now in the annals of time. Yeah, that was a really hard book. Part of the reason why it was a hard book for me is because we started without an inker, and Hulk the super socializer. Yeah, I know, Hulk Hoquin, super socializing over here, working all those connections. Part of the reason why it was very tough for me on that book was we started without an inker, and it was the first time I had ever worked on something like that, and I was just not ready. And then we like changed it around. We got an anchor. It was like it was like rocky. But I think that I gave it the best work that I could give it at the time. I'm proud of where we ended up, and I grew a ton, way outside of the comfort zone. But I feel like if we did that book now, I could like knock that shit out of the park. I don't know. You can't look at old work and be like, I wish we did it different, you know. We're gonna change this from blue to green, like the other stuff. Everything's kind of greenish. We're getting there. We're close. We're close. I kind of want to add some like little flares on the gun. I kind of don't like this like piping. It's just like this kind of like color is just like what is this? What is going on here? Like all of the rest of this is like committed color, and like this is all just, I don't know, sad sack bullshit. Let's try to push it to a place where it's not sad sack bullshit. Man, I could rock Brilliant right now. Now I'm thinking about that. We're gonna recolor a Brilliant page on stream. By the way, I think the next stream that we are gonna do is going to be there's a new colorist jam floating around. I think we're gonna work on that. It's a Doomsday Clock Joker. I don't know who the artist is offhand. I probably should have figured that out before we went live. But if you look for hashtag colorist jam, I believe, you'll be able to find it. There we go. This is a little less non-committal. Yeah, if you look on Twitter under hashtag colorist jam, you'll be able to find the flats in the line art. By the way, flats for this will be if you're watching on YouTube, will be in the description. Also, I've posted it over to Gary Frank is the artist. Thank you. I also posted it over to my Discord under the flatted pages for practice. So if you want to give a go at this fine image of these two young lovers, or coworkers or something, you can. I keep wanting to sign it and like call it a day, but I'm like, wait a minute, one more thing. I forgot one more thing. We're Columboing this thing. So I want to add a little bit of shine to the earrings. Whoa. Because we got those hot Miami nights going on right here. And we're going to add a little bit of shine to the guns. So this looks like crap right now. It's like this grayish color underneath the line art. So we're gonna go to the line art level here, and we're gonna select. I put like a warm highlight down, this orange on the screen level. So we're 20, 80, 80, 100 right now. And we're just gonna pull a grad of that normal through the thing to warm it up. We're just warming it up. It changed something in here. What did it change? Oh, it changed the little bit of this. The mark making on the face. Me redoing an old page would be pretty cool. Like the 2009 versus 20. Yeah, man. Actually, that would be kind of neat. I got to dig up some old pages, see if there's something that's A, not too embarrassing, but B, something I can improve on. It's got to meet both of those criteria. I feel like a lot of that stream is just going to be me being like, past Nick Filardi, what are you doing? It's frightening like how much you learn and grow from project to project. Um, yeah. We're gonna definitely do the colors jam next though. I was hoping that actually this would turn into a colors jam, but then another colors jam like swooped in out from under my legs. But whatever, it is what it is. Let's. I'm gonna put little shines. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but there is a local kid who is probably like 13 or 14, and he's just started skateboarding. And every day he is out there skateboarding, and every day I'm like, yes, dude, fuck yes. Thought pretty much everything you did in the 2000s felt a lot of yeah. So I posted in the Discord about how like this is gonna be a weird. So I'm making my own lens flare right now, by the way. We're putting down the color that we want it to be, plus a little bit of white, and then we're gonna feather it like 10 pixels. And then let's screen down like a little bit of white. So I've basically made this like Knight Rider kit looking thing. I guess if we could put this in a darker area so you can actually see it. This like Knight Rider kit looking thing. You can't hear it. Yeah, he's out skateboarding right now, by the way. And I don't know if he sees. I mean, like, I usually wear like graphic tees and jeans, and I work from home, so I mean, I'm not exactly button down white collar, but I hope when he sees me, he knows I am a useful ally, and he can skateboard as much as he likes. I don't think he cares one way or the other. So here's what I made. It's basically like, you saw like I selected a very narrow space, put a green, pulled a grad that was like this green color, this radial grab, started in the middle, pulled it, and then like pulled another white one, and then kind of ended up with this space. So put on the old Genko's Advanced Get Out There, dude. It was, man, I know that like I'm not fit enough to be skateboarding anymore, but it was all I could do not to be like, hey kid, like let me kickflip that shit. If I was younger, if I kept up with it. So now I'm gonna like, I just narrowed it a little bit. We can also like make it just generally smaller. Fuck man, though. I really wanted to like, I really liked skateboarding as a kid. How do you fellow kids Filardi? Yeah, totally. I don't know if this is working. This is not working. Maybe this is working. Maybe this is working. Maybe we can get this to be working. The feel-good part of the movie where he thinks you're going to take away his skateboard. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm going to teach him how to kickflip. Yeah. Hey, kid. Check this out. All right, I added a mask here. We're going to try to like shrink this a little bit. Maybe? I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna actually work. I don't know if it's green enough, to be completely honest. Maybe it's because like the black underpinnings are not green enough. Maybe it'll look green once I'm done with it. Is this not? Yeah, totally mask it out. This is like a very like 90s thing to do to this piece, by the way. The old lens flare. I mean, maybe we're doing it on the wrong thing. Like maybe we shouldn't be down here. We shouldn't be here. Maybe instead we should be like here. Whoa. Here. Like here. Maybe not that second one. Maybe just there. We're gonna figure this out. I think maybe like that. We'll see. A friend of mine, not really a friend of mine, an acquaintance of mine that I grew up with, that actually the last time I saw him out, which was years and years ago, that I was like buddies with in high school. Your eyes keep making that sun shimmer. Good. It's working. It's working. He actually opened up a skate shop locally. And I was like, dude, yes, thank you. I feel like there's, especially in small towns, there's just like not enough for kids to do, you know? I'm sure like you guys out there can sympathize with me. If you're in here watching me do this, you probably grew up in a situation where you're like, well, I got nothing to do, so I guess I'm going to draw. I'm going to do 80, 20, 80, 100. This is like a greenish underpinning. Oh, we gotta, yeah. Cause I don't want to get in that hair, that beautiful hair. So as you can see, it's like adding a little bit of green in the black. Like you'll see it up here. So it's helping it, like, helping that green flare, like, absorb, basically. I think we're done. Maybe? Are we? Maybe? I did not realize I put that on that layer. This is why I don't normally work in layers. I think we're done. I think this is done. I'm pretty happy with it. Are you guys happy with it? So one of the things that I've been doing as I finish up, that's the sun. We should mark that sun. Is I will go. So if you see on this layers palette, I have basically, this is the line art. This is the sun. This is all the regular artwork. Well, from here to here. This is all basically, this is like all the heavy lifting of the colors that we did. Lately I've been, because I was talking about this in the previous stream, where I'm like trying to like set things up for print, and I've been kind of aware of like what everything looks like. Like this color down here, this dark blue is probably the darkest this piece gets. Maybe this might be a little darker. This is 260. This is like 260 in the other on the other side. On the other side, meaning one's colder, one's warmer. 260 is like fine for print, but it's pretty dark. I've been like, if I was going to make this for print, one of the things that I've been doing, especially on Nightwing, and this is only going on the internet, so because it's going on the internet, we're not going to do this because we can go kind of this full range. Is I will go up here into the levels and just kind of like push. I'll take the legs out from underneath the black level basically by moving this slider. Now, when we look at it, it makes it duller. And to counteract that, I do another layer of like hue and saturation and just like up the saturation a little. And then I'd check it and kind of like tweak from here. Let's see. Let's check it again. It still looks dark, but it's like barely anything. Did we even change it? What if we did less saturation? More of this. Yeah, it's getting a little better for print. Yeah, this is looking a little better. So we used about like 50% less ink on that, which is going to make it print like a little bit better, a little less dark. The thing is that like I naturally lean like this. I like when I color something, this is kind of where my head goes, is like very, very dark, a lot of ink, like, but you got to think about when you color something for print, especially when you're coloring something where you're trying to like show off the line artist, the cartooning that the line artist is doing. When you make something, you got to think about the percents of the ink value. The higher it goes, the more similar it's going to get to black. And if you're really trying to show off the ink work that the person's doing, you want more of the paper to shine through. And every time you add percents in for the inks, less of the paper is going to show through. Like, I try to think about it like that. Think about the ink as like transparent between the paper and the line art, and those things are solid. So I don't know. It's just something to consider when you're working out there. I kind of want to, man, I love this hair, but I kind of want to like I want to get in there. We're going to get in there for like a hot second. We thought we were done. We're not actually done. I kind of want to just like really, really like sun drench this thing. Thanks, Kate. Yeah, we're gonna be done fairly soon, so you won't miss much. In fact, I think we're like pretty much done now. So yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot when it comes to this, like trying to get things to look correct. Also, I don't know if we need this. I don't think we do. I think we just leave it like that. I'm gonna sign it with a yellow from up here. I'm gonna post this up on stuff. You should follow me at all those things if you want to see it not filtered through Twitch and algorithms and condensing and I don't know what it does, like moving packets or something. I don't know. If you want to see it for realsies on your phone, you can follow me right up there. I'm at Nick Phil on Twitter, Nick_Filardi on Instagram. I'm trying to be better at posting on Instagram. This is a terrible. I gotta zoom in way more. First one of 2019. Yeah, no problem, Sally. Like I said, we're gonna be doing that Joker piece next. I'm not exactly sure when that is. Like I said, Shannon's a little under the weather, so sometimes I end up sleeping in when I don't mean to. So for while she's sick for the week, which is probably gonna be for the week, uh, I'm gonna be a little irregular with the streaming. We do have some Battle Chef Brigade we got to get back to. I haven't forgot about that. I swear to God, one of these days I am gonna finish a video game on stream. Um, I got a bunch of other stuff I want to do. I'm like, I prepped a bunch of gaming stuff. I think I talked about it in the previous stream. But until then, until we work on that Joker piece, I want you guys out there, guys and girls, and non-binary, and everyone out there, everyone. Um, are you kicked out of coloring if you skip the Joker? Look, I don't make the rules. Like, you have to follow your own path, Rico. And if your path means that you can't touch colored ink ever again, I mean, that's your path, man. You make your own choices. Um, I don't know. I was thinking about skipping this Joker too, but then I saw some people doing some cool stuff. This is the thing. This is the thing with the art colors jams is that like the reason I wanted people to tackle this one is because I think there's like cool shit in here that I want to see other people like what they do kind of thing. And the Joker one looked like it was fairly straightforward until I saw a handful of other people's, and then I was like, okay, maybe there is like room to try other weird shit. We're going to talk about that when we finally work on it, like where the weird is, where you can make your mark. We'll get into that when we get into it. No spoilers, no spoilers. But yeah, you will be kicked out of coloring. Yes, yeah, that absolutely. Until then, everybody out there, keep making comics. I'll see you on the next one. You'll be there. Joker will be there. See you later.